So how about the moon? Can I bring that up now?
You want to get that?
I feel like since I've been doing this, since I've been doing Torah, and it's 10 years now. When to do stuff has always been the big question. When and how, really, and when is the bigger question. Like people aren't on the same calendar, and if you're brand new, you'll hear people say like, "Well, what calendar are you on?" I don't know, the Zadok calendar, the Enochian calendar, I guess there's this woman over in Jerusalem, Jessica is her name, right? What's her name? Still in Israel, Rebecca. Mm-hmm. I guess it's the 7 species calendar. Like there's all these different calendars that people are following, but Yahuwah's got one. Yeah. He's got one. He's following it. Yeah. Right. And I think it's in the stars. I think it's his. What do you call that? The stars, the constellations, the Mazarot.
Oh, okay.
Somehow, I think it's in the gates, the comings and goings of the sun and the moon and the equinoxes and.
Not the moon, though.
Not the moon. Sorry, not the moon. And like I had not read Jubilees before, and then one day I said, "Hey, I'm going to read it," because the Pope said, "Don't read it." And it's there, right there in Jubilees, and I believe it's chapter 12. Do you know the verse off the top of your head?
Well, I don't. But just to read it, like I never read that till this year.
But it says distinctly. I got to say this, man. I will not. It's just like people say, well, we don't want to fight over the calendar, stuff like this. Listen, this isn't me saying it. This is what Yahuwah told Moshe, and Moshe wrote it down. Yeah. Do not follow the moon. It's the same thing as eating blood. Yeah. Like he says, you'll start to follow the moon, and then you'll see that it comes in 10 days too early, and you'll be off forever. Why are we off, people? Why are we off on the calendar?
Maybe because we went by that stupid moon. And then if you find out that there's civilizations that existed before there was a moon, oh my gosh, that's a problem. What happened? Like the moon showed up and the Babylonians are like, oh, look, there's our God. We're going to worship it.
So if somebody says, hey, come join us on our celebration of tabernacles, and you're on the moon calendar, I can't do it. Because to Yahuwah, it's the same thing as eating blood. Yeah. And how long ago was that issued? How long ago was that decree spoken? It was spoken to Noah's sons, people. Noah's sons. Yeah. The progenitors of our generations, man. We all came from them. All of us.
All got off
a long time ago, right?
Right.
And the funny thing is when that angel, the angel of the presence is speaking, I said, and you will do it. I'm telling you not to, but you will.
And you'll forget. So sad. And to find out in Genesis 1:16, I believe it is, or whatever it is, that when Yah created those luminaries, the sun rules the day. Obviously, it's only in the day. And then we're told something rules the night, but the words there are tiny and insignificant, smallness. And then it says literally the stars. So that totally makes sense to me because that moon, we see it in the day as much as we see it in the night. But those stars, we only see those stars at night. And that was an amazing discovery for me in the Hebrew. I can't even believe it. Like, what is the moon even?
I don't even know. There's this guy named Gil Broussard, maybe? I can't remember his name. He's like an amateur scientist, and he's always, astronomer. He's this guy scanning the skies looking for Nibiru to show back up. I mean, maybe he's right. I don't know. There's something. Right. There's something about it, kind of in lore and also in ancient texts about there's a star that's out of place. It refers to a star that went wandering, and the angels have a job to push these stars into place, and
or be stars. Who knows?
And one of them, didn't follow their ordinance and was locked away in the center of the earth with jagged rocks pointing in their back to the end of time.
Yeah.
You know, like, but I mean, how do we know that that's not Nibiru still? Just like maybe once they put it in motion, it's just kept on going. But is it like the Van Allen radiation belt is that star or that planet being out of, and it just destroyed something that was there, and maybe that's where the moon came from? I don't know.
No, it's interesting.
That's what Gil said. You know, based on what he can tell.
Huh.
Is that the electromagnetic? But I mean, it's like a perfect sphere. So how would that accidentally happen? I don't know.
But you only see one side.
So we think. Like, how do we know it's not the same side? Like, how do we know what it really looks like?
Well, the experiments that have been done, it's like the outer surface is older than the interior. I mean, there's some really weird things about the moon.
Well, there's times during the day when you can see through it.
Yeah.
You can literally see the sky behind it. Like, it's like, how's that possible?
Right. I don't know. It's.
And then people have done experiments with the moonlight and a handheld temperature gauge.
Yeah, it's colder than the sun.
Right. But it's actually measuring the light from the moon, which is kind of.
How can it be that far away then? Like, if you can actually measure the temperature of the light, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Well, I guess maybe if you have the base of the surface, it's base temperature of the surface it's shining on, then you can figure out what the difference is with the light on it. I don't know.
Not sure, but it's pretty cool.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, what is the moon? And then, but I just know that I'm not supposed to follow it.
Oh, no.
And I know it was there at the time of Noah, so.
And if it's not there at creation, oh my goodness, what the heck? Like, when did it appear?
Well, I don't know. And then he says he put the sun and the stars.
Mm-hmm.
Does he say stars or heavenly luminaries?
He says stars specifically in that verse. Yep.
In the sky for times and seasons, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And for Moed, and like, it's got to be a timepiece.
Like, if it's like faces on a clock, and I just find it interesting too. Like, there's 12 Mazarot, and it's been 12.
Right. And there's actually ancient clocks with that whole scenario.
There's no culture on Earth that doesn't have the same 12 zodiac.
Yeah.
They don't make up their own.
Something, right?
Maybe Tower of Babel was real, and everybody started there and went their separate ways.
Could be.
I don't know, dude. It's such a trip, dude. I don't even know. Back to the first part of the conversation. What does men of renown and men of old mean in Genesis? By chapter 6, we're already into men of old?
Right.
What?
Right. And think of what they must have done to be that famous and of renown. Like, if you had a movie for each person of renown, like, that would be incredible.
Renowned for what, though? Like,
But think of their expeditions or what they built or what they discovered. I mean, they've got a brand new what Yah created.
Right, and then we're talking about Joseph coming to Arizona.
Yeah.
But then I think back to my history class, and Christopher Columbus was the first one to discover America. What are you on crack? That's impossible. No, and then all the elements that were in, I think that temple exists to show that all the elements those items were gathered from all over the world. You know, he hired the Phoenician Navy to circumnavigate the globe to gather stuff from everywhere. There's a thing here in New Hampshire, and there's Phoenician writing on it. Yeah. Right? They call it America's Stonehenge.
Okay.
And there's another one. There's that snake mound down in, and then there's Brazil. They found Phoenician coins there. Like they traded, they bought, they did. You know.
And you can't deny that exists because you've discovered it. There's records. There's, I don't know.
And then one of the native tribes is called People of the Tassel. And I want to say it's the Cherokee, but I could be wrong. But, they celebrate the feast days. They have their powwows on the almost lined up with the feast days, man. It's just like, wait a second. And when they sing a song to Yahweh.
They
right?
have Yahweh as their God. Literally, his name. It's so amazing.
And then when you hear somebody read or try to read the Paleo, it sounds like they're reading Native American, just from what I hear in movies,
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm just like, what is really going on, man?
We don't know.
Did he blow the tribes, all 12 tribes of the four corners of the earth? You bet he did.
Yeah.
We just forgot.
Yeah.
Now it's time to remember, Israel. Wake up. All right. Thanks for sharing that.
Okay.
That was pretty radical. I didn't know about Mark David. I'm so sorry. It's tough.
Thanks.
How old is he?
He'd be 28.
How old is he past?
15.
It's got to be horrible. I can't imagine what it's like to lose a kid.
Yeah.
Would he be the oldest?
Yeah, he was. Yep. Firstborn.
And he was a football player too, huh?
Oh, he lived with zest. He loved to fish, and he hated to take naps, so he would watch these expert VCR tapes of fishermen, and he knew.